So you like the idea of going stalking? That's great. The concept's simple. You find a deer and you shoot it. Unfortunately, you need some gear to get to that point, some of which you can see on the table in front of us. Like with any sport, you can do it on a budget, you can spend a lot of money. You can do it without a lot of this stuff. You can take just a rifle and go and shoot, but you can do it with 10 times what you see here. So we've got a fairly simple selection in front of us, and we're going to go through it just to talk about what you might need. First thing we're going to talk about is a rifle. Without one of these, we'd all be a little bit like David Attenborough and just be watching deer and watching wildlife, which is actually really enjoyable. So I can suggest not buying one of these to start and go and actually learn a little bit about what you're going to do by going and looking. However, if you'd like to shoot one, it's kind of important that you have one of these, or can get your hands on one of these by having a friend who can take you out or something along those lines. Most new rifles that you will buy will come with an accuracy guarantee. Without accuracy, a rifle is nothing. It's not like a shotgun that handles nicely and it's very much more of a personal preference thing. A rifle needs to throw bullets straight. That's all it is good for. Every new rifle you buy will come with an accuracy guarantee. Every second-hand rifle you buy from us, at least, comes with an accuracy guarantee as well. So it's not really worrying about what you're going to buy. Most rifles will shoot straighter than you can. Budget-wise, you can buy a new rifle for about £400 or £500. You can buy a nice second-hand rifle for the same money. Hauer, Bergara, there's a lot of very good budget-end rifles out there. If you start moving up, you go into a different world altogether. In the £1,000 to £1,500 mark, it becomes very complicated. There's so much to choose from. Tikka, cheap-end Seikos, Lithgows, Hainels, Rugers. The list actually goes on massively. Remingtons, of which all have masses and masses of variants. They are all good. Every rifle is good and everyone has a personal preference, and it's very much a case of go and handle a few, go and shoot a few before you make your mind up. You're going to be stuck with it for a little while. Obviously making a variation on a rifle is different to making a variation on a shotgun. Once you've decided on a model and a make, decide on a model, woodstock, laminate, synthetic. I mean, Blaser even do, and we'll talk about top-end rifles in a minute, Blaser even do one with a leather inserted cone piece. It's absolutely gorgeous, totally unnecessary, but the world of rifles is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and you can have all sorts of variants. But the most important thing is that it's accurate. There's no point going and buying out a shot-out rifle that looks amazing. You're better off with a rifle that costs you £500 that can shoot a minute of angle. A minute of angle is an inch at 100 yards, by the way. But most rifles will guarantee sub-minute or sub-half minute, which is good. This particular one is a Winchester, model 70 featherweight in 308. Lovely rifle. Caliber, that brings us on to. Choosing a caliber is difficult. We've done a caliber video, it's worth having a watch of that. But you know, most people will opt for a 243, if not 270, 308, 3006, 6.5 by 55, 7 by 57, 65. The world is a big, big, scary caliber place. Pick something that's available at your gun shop, and I can't really say a lot more for that. Rifles are probably the most interesting, most sought after aspect of stalking kit, but probably the least important, I suppose, as long as you're buying something that's accurate. They'll all do the job. I've got cheap rifles, I've got expensive rifles. I know a lot of people who shoot a lot more deer than a lot of people with rifles that are pennies, absolute pennies, but they work and they throw bullets and they choose to invest their money in other places on this kit. As far as I'm saying, buy a rifle you can fall in love with and keep for a while, because you're going to have to. Of course you can spend good money on a rifle, and that's nice. We all like nice things. Blaser, Merkel, Sauer. Those are probably one of the three top favourite brands in the country. You could buy yourself a new Rigby. You could buy yourself new, all sorts of really lovely, exciting looking rifles, and I don't want to put anyone off that, because you've got to be in love with it, and that's quite important. Whilst I'm on that, most of those rifles just mentioned aren't bolt action. I've got a bolt action in my hands, obviously really simple. In this country, bolt action seems to be the most popular. However, there's no real need to stick to that sort of convention. You can go for a bolt action, you can go for a single shot, you can go for a double rifle, you can go for a straight pull, you can go for a lever action. And that, you know, the world is fairly endless, and each of those classes has different types and different styles, and there's positives and negatives to either of those. Spend some time looking at gun porn and enjoy, but inevitably just buy something you're happy with. Optics, next on the list. Optics are probably the most important piece of kit you'll have. It's the only thing that keeps you and your rifle integrated. Don't buy a cheap optic. It's a bad idea. I bought a few. I know a lot of people who have bought a few, and they are always going to end in tears. A scope that has zero shift or doesn't track or just has general lousy quality glass is a bad idea. This is a 6x42. You can get variables, you can get fixed powers, different objective sizes. Go and have a look through a few and see what you think. Always buy a good maker. That said, there's a lot of good makers. Buy something with a good warranty. It's probably more important. As you can see on here, buy good mounts. That's the only thing that keeps your good glass stuck to your good rifle. This is probably the most important piece of kit you have in terms of ensuring humane dispatch. Don't be tight. Buy a good one. Providing your rifle is threaded, you're going to want to fit it with one of these. Not necessarily, but for most people, 95% of people will want a sound moderator on their rifle. Makes it recoil less, makes it quieter, makes it a bit more polite, doesn't scare the animals so much, they can become a little bit less skittish, jitty, whatever you want to say. They're all a little bit less jumpy, that's the right word. Plus, people are less jumpy when you shoot one of these off than when you fire a cannon. Sling and Swivels, providing your rifle is fitted with sling studs, which you can buy and fit to your rifle. You'll need a sling with some swivels, not necessarily attached, but you need a sling and swivels. This is so you can put the rifle over your shoulder and carry it. They get quite heavy if you carry them like that, and if you shoot something, carrying it like that and the animal like that just is actually not a possibility at all. So, you need one. They come in all shapes and sizes. They come in this sort of thing, leather and suede. They do neoprene, so they add a bit of bounce. You get the 3 HGRs, which have a 3-point harness, so you can clip it on your front, your back in a multitude of different ways. You have the Nigolo backpack slings, very, very comfortable. Keep your rifle constantly pointing up and straight. Actually a really nice bit of kit. There's a couple of copies of those. You can pretty much do it with a bit of string if you want. I know a few of our customers do, which I find ridiculous, seeing as a basic sling is going to cost you 20 quid, including the swivels. A nice one, 50 or 60 quid. It's not a large amount of money, and they are worth investing in. Ammunition. You've now got your complete rifle setup, bipod, sling, scope, mounts, gun, mod. You'll need some of these. Bullets. These are ancient. You didn't shoot them per se, but some sort of expanding ammunition. Really important choice to make, actually, ammo. They can make the difference between an accurate rifle and an inaccurate rifle, and doing a little bit of testing between different bullet types to see what your rifle likes is important. I will say that if you can't shoot below a 2-inch group with your rifle, try some different ammo. There is obviously a case of sometimes some people just aren't that great. Unless you put a lot of trigger time in, you're not going to be that great. But find some ammo you like, find some ammo you that rifle likes, certainly, and then go and shoot something with it and see how they perform. I've found rifles and ammo that have gone together perfectly, gone out and shot stuff, and actually the ammo, in terms of knockdown power, really didn't suit my taste. I like stuff to fall over straight away, and although I know it's dead, I'm not really one for following up. I like things to fall over. 270. You now have a rifle that is capable of shooting groups at 100 yards on paper, and you want to actually take it out and shoot some deer. You're going to need a pair of these. These are binoculars. Because we don't live in the world of Call of Duty, you cannot scan every horizon with your rifle. It's just unacceptable, let alone a little bit stupid and unsafe. A pair of these will help you to spot deer. That's pretty good, isn't it? Plus, you'll notice, even if it was acceptable to scan places with your rifle, let's say you do that, and let's say there's a deer you don't see, they're going to spot this a lot quicker than they'll spot this. It's a lot smaller unit to use, a lot quicker. You can spy stuff and you're pointing a gun at someone potentially, which would be bad, seeing as generally speaking you will probably have one up the spout with the safety on. Providing you're going to be doing a bit of walking, you can't really go stalking in trainers. You end up with wet feet, end up with trench foot, and you have your feet amputated, which isn't great. Which needs you a pair of these. Welly boots are good. You don't get a lot of ankle support though, however they are warm, waterproof, and you can hose them off when you get home. Fantastic. However, if you're going to be doing a lot of walking, you need a bit more ankle support. You can buy a really nice pair of leather Gore-Tex lined boots with a sturdy sole, good ankle support for around the £200 mark. You can buy it for a lot less if you're not fussy about names of brands or longevity or quality or appearance. And that's a lie. I wear a pair of 60 quid boots all the time. They're fantastic. But we're talking, you can go down to Screwfix and buy a pair of waterproof ankle high boots for about £30. Those will do you. However, through experience, and anyone who's ever gone for a long walk, I've not been in the military, but I take a lot of heed from anyone who's been in the military, buy a good pair of boots. It's important. Look after your feet. You've only got one set, especially if you're going to be around on them. I've got a pair of these. They're fantastic. These are Ariats. I've got a pair of Mendels. I've got a pair of all sorts, and they're all good. Buy a pair of good boots. They'll last you forever. You'll get 10 years out of them. That's quite reasonably priced when you look at it like that. Plus, they're nice looking. I also stalk a lot in my wellies. However, significantly less than I used to, certainly. They're fantastic, but I say, around here they're fine, but anywhere where you're going to be taking on any terrain, the ankle height will annoy you somewhat. And even though they are lined, you can get sort of the neoprene lined ones, you'll find that Thinsulate lined or insulated leather boots are so much warmer. Which is important, because sat in a high seat, you can cut the circulation to your feet, and you'll get bloody cold whilst not moving around. So, boots. You're now ready to go, you find your deer, you shot your deer, you're going to need a knife. This is important, a sharp knife, a good quality knife. Logic dictates perhaps that you get something that is waterproof, washable, stainless. However, a knife, perhaps unlike a rifle, a lot of people with utilitarian rifles will spend a lot of money on a knife. A knife is a thing that you I don't know, it's man stuff, isn't it? They're nice. Buy one that's sharp, that works. I'd recommend fixed blade. And something half decent. Learn how to sharpen it, learn how to take care of it. That is important with a knife. A sharp knife won't ever cut you unless you cut yourself. A blunt knife you're much more likely to have accidents with. Everybody knows this, but it's surprising how many people don't really know how to sharpen a knife. Learn, look after it. Have something exotic, but expect it to smell. Most people just use real cheap throwaway knives, £10, orange handle, you won't lose it. You chuck it all in the dishwasher when you get home. Other half permitting, obviously, and ready to go. One of these, if you don't forget to wash it off and you stick it in the sheath, it's not stainless, it will rust, and more importantly, you'll end up with a leather sheath filled with rotting deer bits. I've got plenty of them, most other people will too, but just a little pointer, look after your kit, especially your knife, and your rifle, and all your other kit. Processing tools and equipment. I've got here a hoist and gambrel system. It's alright if you're shooting something like a roe or a muntjac, you can pick it up with one hand and hang it on a tree. If you shoot a big fallow, a seeker or a red, you're going to need help if you want to do a suspended brallock. Or when you take it home to be able to hang it up. You're not going to be able to lift it by yourself, because a big roebuck is still a struggle to lift up with the hooks. You're going to need something along these lines. A hoist and gambrel system. And this is just a start, I suppose. I don't want to show you a lot of prepping gear, but you want a nice set of butchery knives, perhaps if you're going to cut it up yourself. However, you can still use your other knife for that. You're going to want to wear gloves whilst you're processing it, certainly even just little nitrile ones on your hands, but you can get full arm ones. It's kind of nice to wear arm protectors, stop hair getting in the meat, and it's all about meat hygiene and actually processing. As soon as you've pulled that trigger, that animal falls over, it's meat, it's going into the food chain, whether it's yours or someone else's. You should treat it with respect and cleanliness. You always wash your hands before you cook dinner. It's kind of a similar concept, right? So, this is a real big thing actually. Ground sheets, disinfectant wipes, knives, all sorts of things, and you can really go to town on this. Personally, I like to travel quite light. I'll just take a knife and I'll do a gralloch on the floor, but I know a lot of people who don't. So, perhaps considering some gear there is a good idea. So you've got all of this luxury gear. Buy a bag to put it in. I've got something similar to this, waterproof bag. I'll chuck everything in it. When I go stalking, I just grab my bag and go. Everyone's got these bags for the end of the world, but it's amazing how many people just leave all their stalking bits separate. The rifle's got to go in a cabinet, as does the ammunition, granted, but the rest of it can just stay in the bag. You grab your bag. I've got a bag with my clothes, my knife, all of the stuff you see on the table, more or less, inside the bag, everything I need for stalking. I can then get to this wherever I'm going after work. I can put it in the car or whatever and go to there after work, get dressed and go out, shoot, in the knowledge that I've got everything here. How many times I've been out when I was a lot younger and forgotten a knife or something like this, and then all you've got is your old rusty Leatherman in the back of the car, and you kind of have to make do. I say rusty, Leatherman's are stainless, but this one's done a lot of deer in the event that I've forgotten a knife, stupidly. But whilst you're out, if you've travelled, you want to make a kill. So a bag to put all of your stuff in is a good idea. This can double up as a row sack. You know, if you just have a bag like this, you can get a row, or a munchak. You can actually, once collected, heads off, legs off, you can fit all of the meat inside of a bag like this if you need to walk it out to your car or whatever. And you'd be surprised. We all have to be conscientious. The ability to walk out of a woods with a rifle in a bag and a deer and all your stuff in a bag is a really nice thing, as opposed to Joe Bloggs perhaps walking up to you or walking past or driving past, watching a man with rifle slung on his shoulder dragging a dead deer. We're all used to it. You'd be surprised the amount of people that aren't. Providing that you've now got everything, you go and shoot it, perhaps in the knowledge that we're not all perfect, and anyone who says they never missed anything probably hasn't shot enough, or has seen anything unusual, hasn't shot enough deer. You might need one of these. This is a dog. Many other types are available. Get one. Have a friend with one. There is the UK Deer Tracking Service. They're really quite good. Any dog will probably pick up the smell of blood and go and find it. I know a lot of... You're going to fall off. This one's not the most intelligent in the world, but I've taken him out stalking a few times, not to follow up on stuff that's been wounded or anything, but just to see what he does. And you've got bad breath. Surprisingly, he puts his head on the floor, smells deer and deer blood, associates it with the fact that he occasionally gets to eat venison, that you're going to fall off, my boy. And finds it. The amount of friends who take out their working spaniels, working labs, and they all take to it. They're all dogs. That's what they do, is they eat other animals. They will find your kill. The amount of South African and African PHs who use Jack Russells, there's a lot of terriers out there that are very, very good at tracking stuff. Not very good at coming back, but very, very good at tracking stuff. And that's that. If it all goes wrong, get yourself a basset. So everything's gone to plan. You've got all this awesome kit. You've shot the deer. It's amazing. You didn't need the dog. You've put the rifle back in its cabinet safely and securely, and you've driven home, or you're not driving and it's not your rifle. It's time to celebrate. You've shot a deer, you've taken a life. I know a lot of people do it professionally, but for those of us who just enjoy it, really enjoy it, it is something to celebrate. It's something that we do lack in this country, is a lack of celebration or respect for the animal thereafter. Obviously, in the continent, they've got a lot more tradition around shooting big game than we do. Have a drink, have a cigar, phone a friend, take a photo with it, enjoy the occasion. We're not trophy hunters, but it's about adding respect and quantifying what we've done. Cheers. So I hope this has helped you a little bit in terms of what kit you'll need for stalking. You don't need half of this. There's some certain beauty to just taking your knife, your binos and a real simple rifle out and shooting a deer. Same as there's a lot of joy in going and taking a lot of gear and shooting a deer. It's just different ways of doing things. As long as you're enjoying yourself and you're safe, you don't need half of this stuff, but it certainly helps. For those of you who are new to this, I hope this has helped you. For those of you experienced, thank you for putting up with me so far. And if you've got anything to add, I'm always really interested to hear anyone's comments. Stick them below. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.